Good evening, good evening, good evening, my brothers and sisters. How are you doing this beautiful evening? Your brother Tony is in the house. Come on in, come on in. It's dinner time, so come on to the dinner table, my brothers and sisters. I am so happy to be in this particular setting with you all today. My brothers and sisters, if you don't mind, go ahead and invite some more family members and friends to the dinner table because I'm really looking forward to sharing this time with you. If this is your first time at the dinner table, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Tony M. Toomer, and I talk about relationships. I talk about relationships basically from a spiritual point of view. I strongly believe that God established the relationship between that of a man and a woman, with him being the foundation of the relationship. When you look at the account of a relationship, when you look at the Adam and Eve story, God was responsible for bringing the woman to the man. That's how God does it. God have a man prepared to receive the woman at the right time. Now, if you don't believe in the way God established relationship with a man and woman according to the pattern that's set up in Genesis, you have what is called a free will. You can do whatever you want to do. But if you here at the dinner table, my position is strongly from the position of Genesis when God created the man, God created the woman, he brought the woman to the man. So that's my position on a relationship. And if you don't agree with that, you could do whatever you choose to do, but I still encourage you to sit at the dinner table so you can get some of this good food for your soul. Okay, so with that said, my brother and sister, when we look, let's look at the menu for tonight. And when we look at the menu for tonight, what do you see on the menu? What's on the menu for tonight and what we're going to feast on is when you're really in love with your man or woman. That's what we're going to talk about this evening. We're not going to explain it. We're going to expound on what I'm talking about. When you're really in love with your man or woman. Now, some people, my brothers and sisters, have no idea what it feels like to experience being in love with your own man or your own woman. But it's still possible if you have never been in love. For those of you that are in love, don't mess it up now. But there is hope. For those of you that have never tasted love, there is hope. And we are at the dinner table tonight and we're going to talk about this. I'm going to break this up into two segments, my brother and sister. By the way, I'm on two different platforms. I'm on the book and I'm on the tube. Those of you that are on the book, I may make a comment to those that are on the tube. You might not see their names and comments, but I call it out every now and then. And vice versa, those of you that are on the tube, you may not see the names and comments of those on the book, but I will call it their names and comment every now and then. We're still family here, okay? And with that said, my brother and sister, like what I said a little short while ago, we're going to discuss when you're really in love with your man or your woman. Now, there are some men and women that have really experienced what it is to be in love. There are some. And then there are some that think that they know what being in love is, but they have no idea. And then there are some that want to taste being in love, but never have tasted before. They have been in a relationship, but that yearning inside of a man or woman, they still have not experienced. Now, first of all, I'm going to talk to those of you that are experienced being in love. And then secondly, I'm going to talk to those of you that want to experience being in love. Now, my brother and sister, when it comes to being in love, no man or no woman come into this world knowing what love is. Nobody can no man or woman can tell you what real love is. The only way a man and a woman can come close to explaining to you, we're expounding to you, that means open you up to what real love is. That man or that woman, it's a prerequisite that that man and woman has a relationship with God through his son Jesus first. So no man or no woman don't know nothing about love until they have a relationship with God first. You got to have a relationship with God first through his son Jesus to even, brother, for you to even love a woman, because you don't know the makeup of a woman, and sister, for you to love a man, you don't know the makeup of a man. So the first thing before a man and woman get into a relationship with one another, when you look at, when we go all the way back to Genesis, Adam had a relationship with God first and foremost before Eve came into the picture. Adam had a unique relationship with God before he met Eve. And then Eve had a unique relationship with God before she met Adam. So God is very important, my brother and sister, that you have a unique relationship with God's son Jesus first. If you don't have a relationship with God's son Jesus, you will not never experience what being in love is. Now, when you have a relationship, my brother and sister, with God first and foremost, you going to learn some things about God, and you going to learn some things about yourself before God expose you, brother, to the right woman, or sister, before God expose you to the right man. It's very, very important and it's vital. It's imperative that you, brother and sister, understand what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, my brother and sister, the first thing you have to do is you have to be in love with God first. You got to get to know God first for this thing to work. And in order to get to know God first, my brother and sister, you have to spend quality time with God. And when you spend quality time with God, you're going to be able to, he's going to be able to communicate with you, and you're going to be able to communicate with him. How you doing, Sister Renee? Saying welcome to the dinner table. So God got to communicate with you, and you got to communicate with God. That means that you have to have quality time with God. And when you're having quality time with God, you, brother, and you, sister, you are becoming one with God. Whether you recognize or not, you are becoming one with God. How you doing, Sister Angela? Welcome to the dinner table. So once you becoming one with God, you learning about God, and you're becoming one in spirit. Because, brother and sister, you got to understand, you are made of spirit, soul, and body. Okay? So your spirit, man, have to be fed, my brother and sister. Your spirit have to be fed with Lord. So the more you have contact with God, the more you become one with God. That's the first person you become one with before you become one with a man or a woman. So when you becoming more in one with God, you're walking with God. He's walking with you. It's a tight relationship. So you're doing the will of the Lord, my brothers and sisters. And while you're doing the will of the Lord, brother, is preparing you. If you have a desire for a woman, he's preparing you. Sister, if you have a desire for a man, God is preparing you in his time. So once you start learning about God, guess what, my brother and sister? You start learning about yourself. You start learning about who you really are. And after you learn about who you really are, my brother and sister, you start learning why you're here on earth. And when you start learning why you're here on earth, you start understanding your destiny. You start understanding your gift. You start understanding your purpose for being here. So God gave you a desire, my brother, and he gave you a desire, my sister, for a member of the opposite sex, but it's a person that was in God's mind that he wanted you to be with before the foundations of the world. So my brother and sister, if you go off the path and you date another man, another woman, you made a mistake, okay? But God could bring you back. God could bring you back with the person that he really have in mind for you to be with. But the key thing is you have to have a relationship with God, and then you have to learn yourself. And when you are prepared, brother, to be a husband, and sister, when you are prepared to be a wife, God have given you an experience of being in love. So God give you the experience because you're following his will and you're delighting him. That's when he's going to give you the desire of your heart. Now, I'm going to divide this into two parts. Those of you that are actually experiencing being in love, then the second part I'm going to talk to you about is those of you that will experience love if you stick with God. Okay. Now, the first group, I'm going to make 3 points. Those of you that are already experiencing love, there are 3 points that I need to expound to you, not explain, but 3 points that I need to expound to you. Number one, you have to always remember, you brothers and sisters that are in a serious, committed, and covenant relationship. The first thing you need to remember that, always remember this: no one or anything, or let me reverse that. No one, yeah, I'm going to stay like this. No one or anything comes before your mate but God himself. Listen to what I'm saying. Those of you that are already experiencing love, if you want to continue to experience love, you got to remember this principle. Nobody, no human come before your mate but God. You have to understand the order. It's Christ is the head of man. Man is the head of the woman. And God is the head of Christ. You have to understand the order of relationships. So, brother, when God bring a woman to you, God is entrusting you with that woman. He has prepared you for that woman because she's already prepared. When God bring a woman to you, brother, when he brought your woman to you, brother, those of you that are already in a serious committed covenant relationship, she was already to be a wife and you was already to be a husband. So if you're experiencing what it's like to be in love, you understand the principle of no one or anything come before your mate but the Lord. That's how a whole lot of relationship mess up, because a man will put other people and other things before his wife. That's wrong. And the same thing, a lot of women, you put other things, people and things in front of your mate. That's wrong. That's why a lot of relationship, married people, they don't experience the utopia part of being in relationship. Number two, for those of you that are experiencing being in a committed relationship, my brother and my sister, never play mind or emotional games with your mate. Never play with them. Be on point with your mate. Be transparent. You have to grow into being transparent, because brother, you have weaknesses, sister, you have weaknesses, but do never play mind games or test your mate. Don't test your mate mentally, and don't test your mate emotionally. Don't play games with them. Numbers are 3. Always, brother, and always, sister, remember how you had to spend quality time with God? You have to do the same thing with your mate. You have to set aside quality time with your mate where it's just you and your mate, and God is present. So I'm going to run over these 3 things for those of you that are experiencing real love now, and you're doing good. Even though you have faced some storms, you're going to always face storms, my brother and sister, but you have had experience when storms come. You've seen it coming. You went through it and you came out on the other side. You didn't bail out on the relationship. So my brother and sister, thank you for sticking it out. Okay. Again, this is the 3 point. Always remember, my brother and sister, those of you that are already in a serious committed and covenant relationship, don't put nobody or nothing before your mate. Number 2, don't play mind or emotional game with your mate. And number 3, spend quality time with your mate. Now, for those of you that I'm about to talk to, if you really want to experience what being in love is, I got 3 points to make to you. Number 1, before you meet a woman, and sister, before you meet a man, develop a deep relationship with God's son, Jesus. Develop a relationship with God's son, Jesus first. And once you develop a relationship with God's son, Jesus, delight in him. How you doing, sister Tierra Mo? Welcome to the dinner table. excuse me, delight in him. For those of you that aren't in a relationship, but you desire to be in a relationship, develop a deep relationship with God. Listen to me first, and go and try to learn his will. Okay. Number two, never, 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 my brother and sister, choose your own mate. Never do that. And this is an important part, my brother and sister, those of you that would like to be in a relationship with God, with a godly man or godly woman. Never choose your own mate. My brothers, pray to God to bring the right woman into your life. Sister, pray to God for the right man to find you. Brother, don't put on no hunting gear going looking for a woman. Sister, don't go talk about you looking, you can't find a man. There's nowhere in God's word where a woman's supposed to go find a man. The Bible clearly say that a man that findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtain favor from the Lord. So in order for a man to find a woman, God basically did all the leg work for you, brother. God, in God's time, he put you in a position and that woman in a position so you could see her, brother. That's how God does it. God does behind the scene. So there's no such thing as luck. You don't hook up with tarot cards. You don't hook up by going to a palm reader. You don't hook up by reading the zodiacs. No, it's a divine thing that God does when he time it. And brother, when God bring the right woman to you, guess what? It's right on schedule. It's on God's schedule. So sister, when God calls a man to find you, you going according to God's schedule. Because let me tell you, majority of the time, my brother and sister, if you meet, not if, when you meet the right man or woman, it was on God's timetable, not yours. So, my brother, never go choose a woman on your own because you don't know what you're looking for. Sister, never go looking for a man. You don't know what you're looking for. Brother, you did not have no manual coming into this world knowing what type of woman you need in your life. And sister, you did not come into this world with a manual what type of man you need in your life. So leave it to God to bring the right man or woman to you. Pray to him and he will do it in his time. When he have you prepared, brother, to be a husband, not a boyfriend, nothing under husband. And sister, pray to God for him to cause a husband to find you. You don't want no boyfriend. You need a husband. And the final thing, you brother and sister, if you never experience love, you don't fall in love. Ain't no such thing as falling in love. That's like you go outside and trip over a rock or something like that. You don't fall in love. You grow in love. Love, my brother and sister, is like you get a seed and plant it in the ground. That's how you love go. You see, you have to learn to cultivate love. Okay, you have to learn, so you plant that seed. The seed have to get planted, and when the seed get planted, you cultivate it. And when you cultivate it, you're going to notice that it's going to grow. You might can't see it point by point when it's going to grow, but you will see that it's growing. It's just like if you plant an apple seed, you plant it in the ground, you fertilize, do everything you need to do, and then life things take over. You have the sun, the rain, and all that, and then you're going to notice a sprout. You did not see the sprout in real time growing, but you're going to notice it. And that's how love is. You're going to notice that it's going to sprout. And when you notice it's going to sprout, how you doing, Sister Flo? Welcome to the dinner table. When you notice the sprout, you know that that seed have germinated and it's growing, it getting roots. Okay, and that's how love is. You learn by cultivating, and while you learn by cultivating, it's growing. And so it's going to start growing. You're going to see the bark, you're going to see the branches, and once you see the bark and the branches, you're going to start, then you're going to see the vine developing. And when you see the vine develop, you're going to see the product, the crop, the fruits. And that's how love is, my brother and sister. It grows like an apple tree or whatever your favorite fruit is, it grows. You understand? So, my brothers and sisters, those of you that have never experienced love, remember this. These 3 points: develop a deep relationship with God first and delight in him. Number 2, don't choose who you're going to, don't choose who's going to be your mate. Let God do the choosing for you. You don't know. So don't have no top 10 list, my brother and sister. Don't have no top 10 list of he or she got to look this way, shape that kind of way, have this and that. The best thing you can do when you pray to God that, brother, he called you to find a godly woman, and sister, pray to God that he calls a godly man to find you with his help. And the final thing, again, you have to learn and grow in love. As it is written, my brother and sister, in Proverbs chapter 3, 5 through 6, it said, trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not to thy own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. Notice it said, don't lean to your own understanding. You understand? Don't lean to your own understanding. You don't know, brother. You don't know, sister. So don't think you know who the right man or woman for you. Don't lean to your own understanding. It said, in all your way, this in all your life circumstance, my brother and sister, acknowledge the Lord. That means to bring God, go into God's presence, acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. He will direct you, brother, and he will direct you, sister, in who you should be with. If you have any questions or comment, my brother and sister, you can put it in the comment section and I will address it, okay? If you don't have anything, my brother and sister, I enjoyed being here at the dinner table with you. I really, really enjoyed it. I love you, brothers. I love you, sister. Thank you so much for giving me your time, my brothers and sisters. I really appreciate it. I love you, brothers, and I love you, sister. I could keep saying that over and over again. Thank you so much for being at the dinner table with your brother, Tony. Remember this, believe this, say la vie, peace out. Have a good night, my brothers and sisters.